Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to my corner of the world. We are here for some more absolute Wonder Woman. We are checking out issue number 3, Diana's Biggest Sacrifice. Oh, that's not ominous at all. Last we left off, she was dealing with the red monster. I don't remember what it was called, the Demogorgon looking thing. She dealt with that, got them to surrender, or yeah, I guess in a way, surrender peacefully and leave. And then she had to humble a general real quick. And then we left off with this really huge monster coming to the city from the water. And she was standing in front of it, ready to throw down. That's where we left off. Now let's see what is going to come of this battle. I'm ready to hop in. Link to the original video will be in the description if you want to check it out on your own. Let's run this up.
Far away from the shoreline, where Diana fights against the mighty demons, the staff of the Gateway City Natural History Museum watch the battle unfold on the news. But no one is staring as hard as Barbara Minerva. The hot coffee is forgotten in her hand as she recognizes the warrior woman on the TV from something in her studies. Wonder Woman, Barbara whispers before turning and rushing out of the room, pushing past her startled coworkers in her mad dash. Meanwhile,
I'm assuming she's going to be Cheetah in this verse. I don't know.
To the military command center as the Tetracide continues its slow movement towards the shoreline. Diana enters the command center and leans over the table. I used magic to slow it down. Buy us some time, but the Tetracide is very resistant to magic. My mother would have been more effective, but alas, we only have me, Diana tells them. She turns to look at the gathering of soldiers. Before you leave, and you should all leave immediately, it's important that I tell you how the Tetracide kills, so that you may have a hope of fighting it after it has killed me, Diana tells them. The soldiers move closer, their eyes wide with fear as Diana tells them all that she knows. She explains that Tetracide literally means 4 killer, and that the great creature kills in 4 ways. Death of fear, death of mind, death of body, and death of soul. Death of fear doesn't sound so bad, one of the soldiers points out, but Diana shakes her head, explaining that the monster will emit a sound that will make it so that all who hear it will no longer be capable of feeling fear. And because of this, they will be drawn to the Tetracide. They will rush to the great monster and will walk right into its waiting jaws, where they will suffer the great agony in the death of mind, body, and soul. I don't want to be dramatic, but the people who are crushed to death in the race to the Tetracide's maw will be the lucky ones, Diana says as she looks at those gathered. So please, for the love of Hera, leave this place. Run if you can, she tells them. Diana pauses for a moment as they all watch her. Then, with a final nod, she walks out the door. Steve follows her quickly, but Diana begs him to try and get as many people to safety as he can. I cannot help them once the sound begins, and it will begin very soon, she says over her shoulder as she stalks towards the beach. Pegasus waits for her. The great monster is still in the distance. Diana sighs and places a hand on the bony steed. Pegasus, keep your distance.
Huge.
Attack with hellfire if you can, but stay out of reach. If it lays one tentacle on you, that's it. And I'm quite sure Zeus will make certain that you're not resurrected again, my friend, she says softly as she lays her head on his bony muzzle. Pegasus leaps into the air with a stamp of his hooves. Diana begins to fly, readying her sword and lasso. Tetracide, I wish you no ill will. I only seek to protect these people, this city, this world. I will give you the same offer I gave the Prime Harbinger. Leave now and never return, or die by my hand, Diana calls as she floats before the monster. The Tetracide's response is a roar that echoes across the city. Diana sighs and nods her head, a steely determination in her eyes.
Yeah, now that is interesting. When they showed that close-up shot of her face earlier, her eyes were red. Yet here, they're blue, like they are traditionally. So what does the red mean then? Were her eyes just reflecting off of something red earlier, or did that redness come from her? Like, did she do something to shift her eyes' color? Interesting.
So be it, she says softly. Diana whirls and throws the massive sword, sticking it into the Tetraside's head, the lasso wrapped around its hilt. She flies fast, racing around the monster and wrapping it up with the lasso. Goddess Nike, lend me your winged speed, if not victory.
Man, that lasso is
Diana
long.
prays. The Tetraside is quickly wrapped as Pegasus swoops in and fires bouts of hellfire upon it. But the plan doesn't work, and a massive tentacle reaches up and pulls the sword free, and the lasso falls uselessly with it. But Diana doesn't stop moving. She reaches inside her magic pouch as she swoops back towards the monster, a brief spell whispering from her lips as she draws forth a massive axe. Strike true, my friend. She calls to the blade as she flies
So she
among
could just
the
conjure
tentacles,
weapons?
slashing and cleaving them from the
that's
monster.
dope.
But one of the slippery appendages reaches out and wraps around her arm, pulling tight. No! Diana screams. It wasn't that long ago that Diana lived upon her island with Cersei. Steve had grown used to living on the island, helping Diana fight off the Kraken that seemed to have grown fond of him. But he still longed to return to his world. Do you miss it terribly?
I would
Tell
want
me
to go
about
back
your
too.
home. Diana requested one night as they sat by the fire. Steve smiled, and a faraway look could be seen in his eyes as she watched him. He told her that Gateway City was on the coast, and when the sun would hit the ocean, it would seem to dance before your eyes. That night, as Cersei cooked their dinner, Diana began to study. Eventually, she closed her book and stood. Steve, would you mind grabbing some firewood from the pile by the door? Diana called as she crossed the room to her mother. Once they were alone, Diana whispered her plan to Cersei. I found it, Mother. The way to send Steve home. This spell, Diana whispered as she showed Cersei the book. But Cersei points out that the spell requires a worthy sacrifice, not a small one. I understand it perfectly, Diana tells her before Steve returns. That night, Cersei awakens to find her daughter sitting before the fire, whispering quietly. Diana? What are you doing up at this hour? Cersei whispers as she crosses the room. I couldn't stop thinking about it. About what I am, Diana tells her. She glances up. If I am a great warrior and will someday be an even greater one, a savior of humanity, as you say, then I cannot fail in my first mission for humanity, Diana tells her. But Cersei doesn't understand. Diana motions to Steve, who is asleep nearby. One good man is all it takes to save the world. He wasn't a gift, Mother. He was a test.
One good man is all it takes to save the world. That's a more optimistic or naive way of thinking, because it's not really as simple as that, but I admire the sentiment. It is definitely more complicated than that because it requires communication, collaboration. You know, it can take one good man to like induce that, like, change, a positive change that can, you know, effectively save the world in the long run. But again, you still need communication and collaboration with others to really pull that off. So I respect the sentiment, but it's not quite as simple as that.
Diana tells her. Cersei shakes her head and reaches for her daughter. We don't know that, she whispers. But Diana pulls aside her cloak, revealing her severed arm laying before the fire. If we are right that I am a great warrior, then the dominant arm of a great warrior is a worthy sacrifice. Diana tells her mother, who gasps and kneels by her daughter's side. Diana, what have you done? She cried. The next morning, Steve finds the women on the beach, standing before a roaring green fire as they cast their spells. He is shocked to find Diana is missing her arm, but before he can question the events, the spell takes effect. Steve begins to disappear. Diana, he calls. But the island is gone, and once again, Steve finds himself on the beach of Gateway City, shocked and confused. The spell was cast, and Steve was gone. Diana looked sadly where he once stood. I'm sorry you didn't get to say goodbye.
I was about to say, she didn't even say goodbye.
But Diana shakes her head. I will see him again, she says softly. In the present, the tentacle tightens on Diana's arm, but she whispers a spell, and the arm suddenly disappears with a crackle of magic. Diana falls through the air, but begins to fly again and returns to the command center. Are you okay? Your arm! It took your arm! One of the officers says as he rises to her side, but Diana shakes her head, angry that the soldiers have not retreated yet. I'm fine. I lost my arm long ago. In its place is a magic arm my mother and I made. I can get it back, but it will take complicated magic.
So
Diana
like
says.
Thor
She looks
Mjolnir?
around, questioning the soldiers if she was unclear about them retreating. You need to leave now,
but
she says to the officers as she clicks on a prosthetic arm. She turns to find Steve standing before her, a hand reaching out for her missing arm. This is how you got me out. You gave them a hero's arm, he says softly. Diana smiles and places a hand against his cheek. I believe I called it a warrior's arm, but it was more than worth it, she tells him. Steve looks up, explaining that he doesn't want to abandon her to this monster.
So what changes it?
It's why you were worth saving, but you need to listen to me and go, she whispers. Diana heads back outside, hoping to buy the evacuation more time. But as she steps outside, she stumbles into Dr. Barbara Minerva. Miss, you shouldn't be here, Diana tells the excited woman. Barbara stares at her in awe, and Diana turns to leave. Wonder Woman! Barbara suddenly shouts. Diana turns back to her in surprise. The Amazons! It's what they would call their champion. You are one, right? An Amazon? Barbara says, her words rushed out. Diana stands before her. You know about the Amazons? She asks. Barbara nods, explaining that she has studied the myth of Amazons her whole life. She even wrote her dissertation on it. But suddenly, the screech of the Tetracide echoes through the city. I must go. We will speak on this more, Diana says before leaping into the air and flying away. She stands on the beach once more, staring at the Tetracide as it grows ever closer. But Diana finally has a plan, something that might save the people of Gateway City. Diana gathers a news reporter and his cameraman, bringing them to the highest building in the city to work her magic. She looks up at them as she begins to trace a magic sigil. This is not for recording, gentlemen, Diana tells them, explaining that magic is very powerful and sacred, and someone must earn the responsibility to wield it. She begins to cast her spell, and finally looks at the reporters to begin broadcasting. Once the camera is rolling, Diana begins to speak to the people of Gateway City, warning them of the horror that is coming, but asking them not to be afraid. My name is Diana, and I'm afraid that I need your help to save your city. This will be difficult to hear, to understand, but to save you from the fate of the Tetracide, I'm going to briefly make the entire city deaf, she tells them.
Oh my.
She knows that the people will be afraid, but they need to remain calm and help those around them while she battles this great evil. I came here to save your city, but today it will be up to each of you to save your city instead. I know you can do it. Wonder Woman believes in you, she tells Gateway City. She reaches for a magic vial in her.
Imagine being a civilian in this city. you just hear this woman on the news say, "Don't worry, guys, I'm gonna make you temporarily deaf. Try not to freak out." Like, what? How can you expect them to stay calm after hearing that? Especially with everything going on.
In the center
That's
of
wild.
her sigil, a powerful magic explodes outwards, and a green mist begins to blanket across the city as Diana's plan begins
It looks
to
almost
take
like
effect.
the Phoenix
And so,
in Marvel.
Wonder Woman's plan to save Gateway
Almost.
City is put into action.
Specifically
the
this
entire
part.
city is about to lose their hearing, but thanks to Diana, hopefully they won't lose their lives as well. But if you want to see what happens next,
Yeah, man. Yeah, this series is so like right out of the gate. There's like no breaks here. It's almost like you get these scenes where things are a little bit more calm because they're like just speaking, right? But like there is like so much going on straight out of the gate. Like we're dealing with a full-on invasion of an entire city right out of the gate in this series, where compared to the other two, like Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman, we did not have to deal with stuff like this until like way later, like at least like 6 or 7 issues in. Like this is wild. It really kind of shows you the stakes, though. Like this is crazy. I'm really excited to see where it's gonna go, and like how you keep, because like obviously with the story, you obviously have to keep on scaling and scaling and scaling, like upscaling everything as it goes on, because you need those stakes to be higher. But if you're starting like this, how in the world is it going to finish? But I will save that for when we get there. That's gonna be it for me with this one. If you enjoyed my reaction, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video. See ya.